Hello. Welcome back to the Pipeline, everybody. How's it going? I'm your host, Taz, and we're here with our other host. No, I'm Daren.
You're a scroll.
I'm Daren. I'm here with my other co-host, Taz. I'm so
How's it
used to being
going?
backwards. How's it going? It's been a
You're-
chaotic evening. We meant to start
yes, it has.
40 minutes ago. Power went out. Or not power went out, but the internet went out. Storm. It's crazy. We've been trying to get this thing up and running. Taz, how's your week been? How's it been
My week
going?
has been pretty fun. Lots going on, but it's great to be here for the one constant in the week, that being the Pipeline.
Absolutely. We're here anyways. It's been a very interesting week. We had the finale for our newest MCU show, Secret Invasion. We had Comic-Con that gave us a bunch of fun things. If you went, we had Barbieheimer this week, which was a lot of fun. Just kind of seeing the internet explode over the cinematic experience. We are expecting one more guest at some point, but let's just kind of dive in. Let's speed round some of these topics here today. First one, I don't think Taz can actually comment on, so this might be a Daren only topic. Harley Quinn season 4 released its trailer just in the nick of time as well, because we get the new season tomorrow. So we got the trailer very last minute. Now I know you haven't been caught up on the show, Taz. Do you know anything about this show at all?
I mean, I did see the trailer. I was like randomly scrolling through TikTok when it came out, and it just like popped up as an ad, and I was like, oh, I'll watch the trailer. I was like, what is going on here? Why is Harley Quinn in a makeshift bat suit? But it looks pretty fun.
Yeah, no, I feel like this is the season that'd be very weird out of context. Like, if you've seen none of it, just hearing in, like, okay, Harley's part of Team Batman now. She's part of the Bat family, and Harley Quinn's part of the like Legion of Doom, which, you know, I don't want to dive in too much into spoilers if you ever, you know, want to jump in, but this season definitely is a carry on from last season, where Harley's basically like, yo, I don't want to be a villain anymore. And Ivy being like, I think I really want to be a villain and I want to up my game. And this contrast this season seems about that work-life balance almost, and how can a relationship survive with a hero and a villain, which I think is a very interesting dynamic that we haven't seen much of. Like, I think that's a fun idea. It's like, can a hero and a supervillain be in a relationship, and how do they conflict each other, right? So I think that's going to be a very interesting storyline for season 4. Looks very crazy. It looks like we're diving more with the superheroes, so like the Justice League, along with the Legion of Doom, which we kind of took a backseat with the last couple of seasons. But no, I'm very excited. I hope season 4 is good, and I hope it's not our final season, because we have heard nothing about 5 and 6. That's it. That's all I have. Maybe I'll bring it up next week when we get the first probably 2 episodes of the season.
It sounds like a fun show. Like it's kind of at the end of my watch list right now. I binged through all of Invincible over the weekend in like one night. I started my watch through of The Boys. I'm 4 episodes in so far, and once I get through that, then I'll jump over to Harley Quinn. But it looks like it's going to be fun. Like, I think it's a cool idea, giving Harley a bat suit. Like, she's practically been a member of the Bat family at times anyway. So just for fun,
yeah.
I think it's a cool idea.
Darth Bunyan in the house. Darth Bunyan, are you
Hi,
watching
sorry.
Harley Quinn? Are you a fan of the show?
I am a fan of the show. I'm not caught up yet. And I'm sorry, I was waiting on the other link. I didn't realize.
I apologize. I think I sent
I got
all
confused
the
by that as well.
I sent the links wrong today.
But no, I'm not caught up. I'm okay for spoilers. That suit looks awesome as hell.
Yeah, it looks very cool.
I love, sorry for interrupting. I love, they're not afraid to be really different. And the character arcs that everybody goes on that is so outrageous to anything that they would allow in live action, you know? I love it.
Yeah, no, like none of what...
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, none of what they could do here could ever be done in live action. at least being taken seriously. It does stretch the boundaries, and I think what they're doing with like, again, Harley and Ivy this season. I know you said you weren't caught up, but it seems very much, again, like I haven't seen a story like that anywhere else. Alrighty, moving right along here. So let's kind of diving more into the strikes. So when I made this graphic, it was just Warner Brothers, but since then, Warner Brothers, Disney, and a bunch of other companies have been considering pushing back films that were supposed to release in 2023 back to 2024. We've heard films like Aquaman, Dune Part 2, even newest like Disney films like Wish are on the bracket to maybe not come out this year due to the strike. Taz, you talked a little bit about this last week. You're like, I don't think Aquaman's coming out. I think it might get delayed to next year. Do you guys want these movies to get pushed back, or how are we feeling?
I mean, at this point, it feels like we're kind of at a very much so a stalemate in the writer strike and the actor strike. It does not seem like we're progressing as much as we should in this. The studios don't seem like they are budging whatsoever. So I don't think practically anything that isn't finished right now is not ready to like release. I don't think that there's a practical way that they could actually release when they are supposed to. I think pushing them back to 2024 post strike is the best option and most likely the only option at this point.
Yeah, the fairest for sure. Can I just also say, I mean, everybody gives, everyone's always like, oh, poor Henry Cavill and poor Michael Keaton. I feel like we need to start saying that about poor Jason Momoa. I mean, after the way he came out of those DC offices, all buzzed with that, like, yeah, you know, and then here we are. I mean, again, not like this is like mainly the studio's fault because they're just being assholes, but I feel bad for the guy. Do you know what I mean? Like he's really sticking with them and being really positive, and then just keeps being tethered along. I just feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, it just, unfortunately, for anybody that's like a remnant of the old DCU or of the old DCEU, it feels like in this new, I guess, hierarchy of power, for lack of a better term, it seems like they won't let them continue. They won't let them, fade out. It just like we're in this really weird limbo state. And I feel like the writer strike and the actor strike obviously has not helped that, just because certain projects that were supposed to release will now have to be pushed back or, can't release in the form that they were supposed to. And just, again, we're in a really weird spot. But I'll always say it's much better to push a project back than to rush it out as an unfinished product. And you see that a lot with video games nowadays, is they just rush it out the door, and you get a half-baked game, and it takes 6 months for it to be updated to where it should be. But you can't do that with a movie. So I think, best course of action is delay it.
Yeah, I am okay with delaying everything but Aquaman, just because I think, like for one, if I hear the words that they are delaying this movie one more time, I'm going to scream, because this is like they've done it 5 times now, and I'm a little annoyed. But besides that, I think they need to distance the DCEU and the DCU as far apart as possible. So they either need to let this come out now or push Superman back to like 26. I don't like. I think you need that entire year break from this like timeline before pushing into like Legacy and Waller and stuff like that. And again, like this movie has just been through so much. Like I don't think they would, because we're almost pushing a $300 or a $300 million budget. But I'm almost just like, put it on streaming. Like it might do better. Like you wouldn't have to market it at least then. So do you worry
Batgirl might be coming then if it's cost that much money? And if it gets too close to Superman Legacy time, do you think that a Batgirl is possible?
I'm still going with my theory of, if you put in the secret code on the Flash Blu-ray, circle square, up, down, left, you unlock the Batgirl movie in a secret menu.
I will try it later.
No, I mean, I would almost rather have Batgirl, because then you could just say, hey, this is Elseworld, and call it a day. Like Aquaman, it's so confusing. I will never understand why it didn't come out before Flash. Like,
Yeah. It's just weird that it's going to come out after Blue Beetle now, which is
yeah, no,
supposed to be in the new
only
DCU,
thing-
but this is a remnant of the old one. It's just weird.
The only thing that
sorry,
sorry, go on.
no,
Go on.
good.
I would say the only thing really is that it's not like, it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? It's a buddy movie. That's what it's been reduced to, a buddy road movie between two brothers. Do you know what I mean? So it's not really that important to the timeline going forward. So if they do just delay it until it gets a Batgirl, like, it's not fair to everybody, but it wouldn't matter as much.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know this had a much larger budget than Batgirl, right? I think Batgirl was around like that was a streaming movie, right? This is $300 million, and
yeah, I think
like
Batgirl's budget was somewhere around where Blue Beetle's fell.
Yeah.
In that, like, I think 100 to 150 range, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of at a point with that movie. I don't really care. I know we've talked about that a lot by this point. But
What, Blue Beetle?
No, this.
Oh, this, yeah.
Aquaman, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, it feels like it's just been 5 years of, like, at least Flash, I felt like that we were leading into something big and huge. And I felt like there was so much we didn't know about that movie. This just kind of feels like we're waiting so long for almost nothing. Like, I hope this movie does surprise us. And then again, how they ended Flash was such a, to me, felt like kind of like a stab in the back in a way, where it's like, it's like you build up to this large thing and it's like, yeah, we're giving you nothing. I don't know.
Literally.
Alrighty, moving along here. So, some animated movie news. So, I myself just finished the DC AMU. I finished that for the first time ever. Had a blast with it. Loved it. I have not moved my way to the Tomorrowverse, which is almost like your spin-off universe, I guess, in a way. So, this came out over at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend. We've not heard where it takes place, but I think everyone's mostly kind of wondering if it's in this new universe, in the Tomorrowverse. But they announced a Watchmen animated movie and a Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths movie. How are you guys feeling about this? I know you guys talked about this yesterday over on Party Nation. Are we excited? Do we think there's some cool things coming here?
Something interesting that I literally just noticed. So if you look at the Watchmen logo, it says DC animated movie, but Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths says DC Universe movie. What's the big difference there? Because DC Universe movie isn't James Gunn calling the new DC Universe is just the DCU. So is this somehow connected to our movie universe? Is this the true reboot? I know that's like crazy tinfoil hat theory time, but like, I don't know. That's an interesting thing that I didn't catch before.
Thing is, I would be down for that, because Flash was supposed to be that reset point, right? I would be totally down if they got all these actors coming back, all these DCU actors, and are like, all right, play these characters one last time, then let's reboot it. But I don't know if anyone would watch it. These, unless they put this in like theaters, which would be cool, which would be really, really sick. I don't not many people outside of like us watch these like animated movies, you know?
Right. I mean, I think honestly the most likely choice, the more, I guess, the more popular choice as well, I saw a stranger even bring it up in chat, is that it's connected to the Tomorrowverse. That's kind of, what we're doing here is we're wrapping up the Tomorrowverse. This is the universe that spawned after Justice League Dark Crisis, whatever that was.
Apocalypse War.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that might be the full ending to that. I mean, or it could possibly even be just a DC Universe movie of itself, and that's why it's labeled as DC Universe movie, because it's just connecting all of maybe different animated universes that we've seen throughout the years, and it's going to be kind of like a full resolution to that, leading into now our connected universe where movies, TV shows, animated movies, games, everything is supposed to be under all, one umbrella. And then the Watchmen animated movie, it might just be an animated retelling of the comic book, might just be kind of an animated adaptation of Snyder's movie. But what I would like to see is something completely different, a different take with these characters. I think that would be really fun. I know we mentioned Doomsday Clock yesterday as well, so that could be very fun.
Yeah, I do want to point out, and I don't know if anyone has watched Justice League World War yet. I don't know if you guys have seen it. My friend, the Red Arrow, who covers mainly these movies over on his channel, he did say that the end of the movie kind of maybe set up a potential crisis. So it does seem like it is in that continuity. Which, again, I haven't started it yet, so obviously I'm not connected with that world as of yet, but it does kind of suck that it seems like they are really getting getting the short end. You know what I mean? I hate the fact that because
we're just started.
No, we're 6 movies in or something crazy. We're really at the beginning of everything. And I know a lot of people haven't been loving it. I haven't heard praising stuff like we've heard for the DC AMU, but kind of sucks that they never got to get their feet wet, I guess. But I just feel like
I just feel like if all it would have taken, instead of I like the idea of them wrapping up all of the animated stuff, but the implication I got with Titans is that the animated stuff is also what was affected by Crisis, right?
Yeah.
So instead of just labeling us with projects upon projects, I mean, the video that James Gunn made breaking down what's coming, do you know what I mean? All it would have taken is to say, right, we've already got the tools we need and have been used to set up the universe as we're going. It would have taken a 5 to 10 minute video. Do you know what I mean? And it would have saved them a whole buttload of money, right? It would have got a lot of press. It would have got a lot of people going back to the stuff that they've already set up. Do you know what I mean? It would have got new viewers for The Flash and the whole Arrowverse. Why wouldn't you want that? Why would you want to double down with an animated movie, like we said, is going to see less people than the Arrowverse would have,
Yeah, it's a really weird idea to do a second Crisis so soon after the first, when, like you said, it was supposed to be the culmination of the entire DC multiverse up until that point. And the only reason I can see them doing this is because I know that there were rumors that they were trying to set that up for the original DCEU as well, that one of the endings of the Flash movie would have sent Ben Affleck's Batman to, I guess it was the Nightmare timeline, and then he would have called out to Barry, which would have set up a movie version of Crisis, which again would seem very weird when the Arrowverse Crisis literally connected the Arrowverse with the movie universe, and so everything already collapsed and remade itself, and Barry did Flashpoint, and now we're getting an animated Crisis, which, might just be our, animated universe version of how the Arrowverse did Crisis, and just kind of bring in, Justice League the animated series, Batman the animated series, Superman, Young Justice, just
Harley Quinn,
just every animated project up until that point that they can fit in there. Teen Titans Go, Lego movies, whatever. That would be kind of fun. But it's a weird placement for it.
I think it would also be kind of cool because Arc Crisis didn't do the animated projects. They was just live action. So maybe it's a Pacific for just the animated worlds, which could be cool. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but you're right. There is that Titans project or problem where Harley Quinn is in the Titans universe,
and
right?
Teen Titans Go is also in it too. So
so that I guess that's an issue. Although
my cat, honestly, how I feel right now is how the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. people have been feeling for years. That's how I feel right now. I want to be heard. Do you know what I mean? These shows exist. You cannot. Do you know what I mean? We will be heard. Damn it!
Yeah.
Like, you can't just hide in the corner, baby.
Unless you add the Arrowverse somehow in here with animated versions, and like you just have animated Stephen Amell, Oliver Spector.
Which would be great.
I would be so. That's all. I would be so happy. That's all it would take.
Yeah,
just a cameo.
Yeah, I'd be content with that. If he's just like, oh no, not this again.
What you do this time, Barry?
Barry.
And I mean, he wants to come back. Like, this would be such a great way for him to be able to do it again. Yeah. No. I mean, I bet. It's also just nice to have some other stuff next year as well, right?
Sure.
Some other
I will
stuff.
say. Sorry, I keep talking over you. Go on.
Go ahead, it's fine.
I would say, much in the same way that like Justice League War is my absolute favorite animated DC movie, and I think it stands alone amazingly. And I think The Watchmen will do the same. I think that's just going to be a little treasure that we get to keep coming back to, because they're going to nail it so well. Because DC do their animation really well. I haven't been too hot with the Tomorrowverse, I'm not going to lie. But up until then, as I know, they've done it really, really well. So I have a lot of high hopes with Watchmen.
I think
from the go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I think Watchmen is either going to be phenomenal or absolutely trash. There's no middle ground. Like they could have that perfect time, that perfect time spot, perfect animation, could be amazing, or they just don't have enough time to do any of it, because I know that's a much larger pill to swallow, I guess, a much larger mountain to climb. And I guess both of these are kind of in that same spot because they're both longer stories. So,
yeah, and I would honestly say, though, from the two of them, if you put them both in front of me, I'd honestly maybe much rather watch the Watchmen movie outside of this Justice League Crisis, because, again, we just saw it.
Yeah. And we've already had so many cameo type movies, right?
And the only point of it is to reset a universe and give you cameos.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, it's not a massive story or anything. It was literally used as, like, housekeeping for the DC universe. So
it also kind of sucks that we couldn't have like Kevin Conroy for this. Yeah. Right? Like if we go
unless they use like old dialogue or maybe. Just give us one final I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am Batman.
It's just the same Kevin Conroy from the Arrowverse one. Like he's back, the like killer.
No. Arkham Knight.
Moving along, guys, we have some Invincible to talk about. If you know me, I love Invincible. I loved the first season. So Invincible gave us news for season 2 and 3, along with the new Adam Eve special that dropped. While I pull up these news updates, guys, and again, I'm so unprepared today, guys. Last minute stuff. But kind of give me your kind of thoughts on just the Adam Eve special, Taz.
Adam Eve? You mean the female Dr. Manhattan? You mean the most powerful, like, superhero being of all time out of any universe that just literally says, nah, I'm good to death. Like, it was great. I loved it. Like, it gave us a nice feeling of, you know, the stakes, I guess, going into season 2 with having, you know, maybe a higher budget. The animation was really good. We had a fight scene that I've seen a lot of people talk about online. That was really, really solid. I loved just seeing the backstory of this character that, you know, was a big part of the first season, but we never actually saw her background. So I was very happy to actually see that origin story. It made me very curious about, you know, even more so about the comics and everything. So I went through, I did all my research, looked at, you know, the whole Invincible timeline, looked at the whole Adam Eve timeline, and just figured out that, you know, the answer to Omni-Man's question at the end of season 1, in 500 years, what will you have? He's got everything. So.
You know what's really funny?
I loved it.
Is I'd watched some Invincible, but I was trying to watch the whole series before this podcast, right? Mm-hmm. And I got up to like episode 4 before answering a call from 3Dubs. So he took 4 hours, like 3-4 hours of my time before the podcast, right? So I'm halfway through. And what's really trippy is I tried finding it, but I forgot I had Amazon Prime. So I started watching it online, and I accidentally found Amazon Eve, Atom Eve first. I watched that before watching Invincible, which was really cool.
Which works still. Like it. I don't think it does.
Good.
Like
Yeah. It would work.
It was so good. It was so good. Loved the idea of her origin, like you were saying, Taz. Really, really, really cool. And dude, man, she's had a hard life. She just left, right, and center. And okay,
this was an emotional one.
Yeah, right. So then the stuff with Rex that happened early on, like episode 3, that really hit a goddamn nerve.
Yeah, sure.
I was like, oh, you bastard. You bastard. Sorry for the language. But I was like, oh, you know. No. Yeah, so I love her all the more for seeing her special first.
Yeah. No, I'm so glad that literally the way that I got into this was I was being told by my brother, I was being told by Daren, I was being told by the entire internet for the last 2.5 years, watch Invincible, and I was like, I'll get to it. And then they dropped this trailer and they dropped this episode at Comic-Con, and then I was like, okay, my time is now. I'm gonna watch this. I binged the entire first season, all 8 episodes in one night. And then I jumped immediately into watching the trailer for season 2, and then the next day I woke up, I watched this episode, and I was a Invincible fan for life.
Good to hear it. We are all ready for November, which is, I mean, that's a pretty good segue. So they released a bunch of news here, kind of prep for season 2, 3, and then this. Obviously, they released the Atom Eve special, which I loved. Thought he was great. I love just these kind of mini side projects that they give us. The like Disney Plus has done their those like special presentations, which are these like one-off things. The Arrowverse used to do these type of things with like Ray and Vixen and stuff like that. This came out, like, I love those kind of things, and I think it's, I don't know, I just thought it was fun. The first 4 episodes of season 2 start November 3rd, airing weekly through November 4th. And then there will be a short break until
I think
early 24.
24, yeah.
Yeah. I'm reading this live, so and also apparently recording for season 3 is done. Like, it's finished. So
wow.
Maybe we won't have to wait too long. Maybe it's like late 24 or something, you know? Maybe it's late 24 going into 25 or something. And then they gave us like a bunch of new cast members for season 2. We have Sterling K. Brown, we have Chloe Bennett, we have Peter Collins, a bunch of amazing people joining our cast. Josh Keaton, a lot of fun people.
Do you think we're gonna see the Spider-Man crossover? Because there's in that
one.
So that little teaser that they released like 6 months ago or whatever, like if you zoom in, you look at Invincible's phone, it looks like it's that cover of that crossover issue. Apparently we're doing multiverse. This is the theory that I've heard. I did not come up with this. I've seen it, floating around the internet and everything, and I would like to jump on it because Josh Keaton voiced Spider-Man, so we're, just putting 2 and 2 together.
You know what? I would have said no immediately, but how crazy would that be if the first time in 15 years we see spectacular Spider-Man?
Imagine our cliffhanger at the end of episode 4.
No, that'd be terrible.
Invincible meets Spider-Man. He jumps out of a portal, and Invincible's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm the spectacular Spider-Man." And then the
internet would explode.
And then you hear the little theme. Yeah.
Oh, it's not going to happen, but now I really want it.
I have spoke it into existence. I was going to say, it was really trippy hearing Lance Reddick's voice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was really great to
miss that guy, man.
Is it true that it is 4 a.m. for you, Darth?
It is. I'm not gonna lie. I was on live with 3Dubs, just chatting behind the scenes when I got your message, and I was like, no, I've stayed up for this. I was like, no.
Well, if you get tired, let me know. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. But I did not realize it was that late for you. Alrighty, let's move right along here. We won't spend too much awful time on this. Taz is not caught up yet. Gen V trailer came out this week. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, so again, we won't spend too long on it. Darth, are you excited for Gen V? Do you like the boys?
I am a massive boys fan. I literally won like 1/5 of the 1/6 of the omnibus on a TikTok quiz the other week, and I need to get down to reading it. But I'm all caught up. I'm super excited for Gen V. I loved Diabolical as well.
Yeah.
Just some of the takes on the stories, honestly, just phenomenal. And I just can't wait to see the variety of powers. Do you know what I mean? Because they get to super creative instead of having to worry too much about canon and sticking to the comics that everyone's so reliant on.
Sure.
You know. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. No, I've been kind of waiting for this trailer for a minute now because I needed to see more. I needed to see the vibe, and I still don't feel like I fully know the vibe. This still kind of felt more of a teaser trailer than a full-on trailer. We still don't know too much of the plot, just kind of a glimpse at the powers and kind of the settings. And I still need a little bit more myself to say I'm excited. Obviously, I'm going to watch it. I love this universe. I'm excited to see how it connects to the boys, but I am yet to get excited for the show itself.
I can't lie. I would say that the trailer gave off very Starlight episode 1 vibes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's cool because she's going to wake up to reality very, very fast, which is going to suck for her, but it's going to be fun viewing. You know, can't lie.
Sure.
But it's where it's going to go after that. Do you know what I mean? Because how well are the boys known in that universe? Do you know what I mean? So if it gets to a case of, oh, I wake up to reality, I don't want to be in the 7, they're monsters, does she automatically just like start switching sides and want to start working with the boys? I heard it's going to be running into the boys season 4. I would love. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think I actually heard yesterday that they run at the same time. So this is going on during the boys season 4.
Right. Okay.
Which would be very interesting, like going into season 5 to see how they parallel, you know, like see what happens.
I would love, if we got, as they're running concurrently, I was going to say, like, for season 5, I would love, or even season 4, if they're running together, that something catastrophic happens in the boys that's out of their circle that has happened in Gen V. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
But I feel like I would like it to be really essential to their plan. Like, it really helped. Like, everything's about to happen. Like, stuff like is about to kick off and really badly, and then something over there happens, and they're like, "Wow, that's really fortunate. Boom, let's use this to our advantage."
Sure.
Whether they're aware of it or not, I'm up for debate, but I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected after season 3 us to do something big with Homelander. Like, I felt like we were at like his breaking point, right? And he seemed to have settled down a little bit, right? But like I could imagine we end season 4, Homelander is just like on a rampage. Like, he's had it, he's snapped, maybe he's going full like Injustice Superman and murdering children and families, and like that would have a massive consequences for the world, and maybe they have to hire these teenagers to take Homelander out or something like that. Like, maybe you can like connect it in a weird way like that. Maybe you do crossovers. Like, I think it'd be really cool to have the Gen V characters over on The Boys, or vice versa. Like, we already know the Boys characters are in this show. Like, I think we have, what's her, the Amanda, right? Is her name or something?
Ashley and Adrian.
Actually, yeah, that's it. I would not be shocked if we get like a Homelander appearance or something crazy like that. But yeah,
they're really good. They're really good at keeping everything connected, especially with the news network that they have set up. I love that, and I think it's really funny. Oh man, I think it's really interesting because you have Stan Edgar that the whole time has been saying,
"Sure,
child, you're powerless. We are the power. You are a product." Do you know what I mean? And then you have all of his insecurities kind of being washed away when his impotent and impetulant behavior, i.e., what we sort of don't want to be spoiler here, so for Taz, but
no, it's fine. I'll forget it by the time I get there.
So, like, that's being rewarded with. I watched like a scene earlier on YouTube, and do you remember I want to say it's season 2, when Queen Maeve was threatening him with the video, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, "They're gonna not love you," and then you could hear the crowd, "Homelander, Homelander, Homelander." So it's vitally important for him to be showing the worst of himself and still getting uplifted. It's going to be taken into a very interesting place.
Yeah, no, I think season 4, might be a lot about like cancel culture and those like side of the fandoms, and like I think it's going to like reflect our real life society a lot, and like they always do, but I think they're really going to dive into like how ridiculously blind I think our society is. Like, we have this terrible person and the world knows he's terrible now, and they just don't care. And I think that's going to be a main topic into season 4, which I'm very excited to dive into.
Okay, so this is another thing, right? That I got told I was crazy, right?
Okay.
Again, I'm trying not to be too spoilery here, right? But I'm under the impression, right, given how integral Liberty was, right? I'm under the impression that she's Homelander's mum. Right?
I don't. Maybe.
think about, like, she like is practically the start of like the Vogelbaum stuff, right? She is the first product, right? And like way more powerful than most others, right? So it would make sense, because like if he was born in a test tube, as was stated, right? Because obviously, or even if like a surrogate was found, like you're gonna want like a compatible, like they've chose a super sperm, you're gonna want a super egg. Do you know what I mean? It just makes sense. And then, like I said, she was super up there in the organization. So then for them to go down to, Invisible Sally in the corner makes no sense, right? And it's not like he would have done it with the Crimson Countess. That would have just been a no-go, because he got the call to come into the lab. So what I'm saying is that makes sense, which means the scene in the hospital in season 2 is just mind-blowingly messed up.
I feel like I need a rewatch because half of that went over my head.
Well, all of it went over my head because I'm only on episode 4. My entire knowledge is from memes and playing as Homelander for about 2 hours in Modern Warfare 2.
You looked very confused during all of that. And
but I do know a couple things. I know Black Noir is supposed to be a clone of Homelander or something, and Soldier Boy is Homelander's dad. That's all I know.
Well, yeah, one of them's right.
That's all I know.
Other one's comic.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Zooming through here very quickly, speed round, because we did talk about it a bit.
I know that too.
We talked about it a bit yesterday, but Taz, you're a big Spider-Man PS4 fan. How did you feel about the trailer? How were we feeling about the game? Very very quickly.
I'm very excited for this. I always mention it, but again, Insomniac Games is my favorite game developer. They created the Ratchet and Clank franchise. That was kind of my real entry into, big time video games and everything like that. So I'm so excited for this. I loved the first game. I platinumed that. I think I'm like one trophy away from platinuming Miles Morales. I just need to actually go back and finish it. This looks like it's going to be such a fun time. We're going to be getting a big old Venom, boss fight, I'm sure, at some point. We've got Zoom voicing Venom. Like, what's not to love?
Yeah.
We're going to use the symbiote suit. We're going to both Peter and Miles are going to be overpowered as anything. The traversal looks incredible. Like, you're traveling through the city like at double the speed that you were in the first game because you were limited by the old PS4 hardware and everything like that. And now with the PS5 and the SSD load times, it allows you to traverse the city even quicker. So I'm so excited for this. I already have my pre-order down. Like, I'm gonna, I want to get the panels for my PS5 to make it look like the Spider-Man PS5. So I'm excited. And also, you've got Ben 10 versus Ben 10 here because of Harry and Peter voice actors. So that's fun.
Yes, that's very cool.
No way. Which one's which? Obviously, Yuri is Spider-Man. Who does he play? Which Ben 10's he?
Harry played Race Against Time, Ben. So like the live action
original
Ben.
Live action, yeah.
Okay.
That's a throwback.
Oh
That's a throwback.
I was so excited when that movie came out, and I was like, "Oh man, they could have done so much more with that."
What does he look like now? Hold on, bit of a detour, but I kind of want to see if you could play him now. Does he still look like a Tennyson?
He showed up on Riverdale like early on. He still kind of looks the same. Like, in the character model in game kind of looks like how he did on Riverdale. I was like, he looks familiar, and I couldn't put my finger on it until people were like, yeah, no, that's the Ben 10 from Race Against Time.
Okay, maybe I could see it. He could play it.
Taz said it. I mean,
not
Tony
16
as Venom.
Yeah, he could play like a Ben 10,000 maybe. Buff up a little bit. Alrighty, moving on. Darth, do you have any like opinions on this?
No, just that I need to get a PS5 ASAP.
Yeah, same.
I need to start a GoFundMe. Links in the description. I'm joking. No, I'm just super excited for everybody. I'm gonna be coming to it a lot later.
Yeah.
But my God, it looks so good. It's what everybody's been waiting for. Oh my God, the Venom looks amazing. I cannot wait to sit and watch everybody play it.
It's gonna be game of the year. Like, it's gonna be tough to beat Jedi Survivor, but I think it's going to 100%.
Wow, that is big. That is big right there.
Alrighty, so moving on here. I want to mention this. So this isn't news per se. But there's been a lot of talk about Daredevil over the weekend. So we had learned, like, there was an article that had come out about how Matt would be having like this new law firm. He's going to be having a new partner, and there was a fan. I don't have the tweet pulled up, guys. I wanted to. I was not prepared for the stream at all. But there was a fan that was ranting, like, this isn't my Daredevil. We want Foggy and we want Karen, and the actor who plays Kingpin, what's his name again?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Thank you. He just responded with like, be patient.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Be patient.
Should have just said, when I was a boy.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of high hopes for the show, a lot of anticipation. People have been waiting so long to get back to these characters, and I fully understand. As much as I love the show, I'm not a super fan like a lot of people. I bet the super fans are very frustrated probably with the lack of Foggy and the lack of Karen. But do we think they're hiding them in the show? Like, I still have a feeling that they're in here, but just not yet.
Yeah, I'm definitely holding on hope to the fact that they'll be in here. Obviously we haven't had any concrete announcements or anything, but that quote alone kind of makes me feel like, okay, even if we don't see them in the first part of the season or the second part of the season, maybe there's still plans to bring these characters back at some point. This is not a full-on reboot. It's kind of like a soft revival. Yeah. It's Daredevil Born Again. Like it's a carry-on from the original Netflix series while also kind of being its own thing, establishing Daredevil even further into the MCU. And hopefully the fact that they are bringing him in means that there are years and years of Daredevil stories to tell.
Yeah.
So, don't rush into things. We can bring all of these characters back in due time and maybe, do new stories with them. Maybe it will be different versions. Maybe these are all variants. Like, I would honestly find it hard to believe if the Daredevil that is in the MCU now is the exact beat for beat Daredevil from the Netflix series, because obviously you can't go as far as the Netflix series did with, certain fight scenes, certain just like, the blood and gore level and everything like that. That just isn't an MCU thing. That's not a Disney Plus thing. Obviously the series did kind of, get moved over there, but I wouldn't see them, going that route in the future. So I wouldn't put it past them to say, these characters will come in later, but they're going to be multiversal variants for the MCU.
You know what? At one point in time, I would have agreed. But I think, I don't know. Like, I think the fact that we're doing Deadpool now, like, that's on the table. And they, like,
right,
it seems
true.
For me, it feels like Deadpool is they're testing the waters. They're like putting their toe in the water to see, will people watch this? How will parents
can
react?
R-rated work in the MCU?
So maybe season 1 might be kind of safer, and then season 2 it's like, all right, we're back, baby. And I like, we're bringing in Punisher, and I don't like that actor is so passionate about that character. I don't know if he would have came back if it was just like half-assing it. Like, I don't know if he would have come back for a PG-13 Punisher. I think I honestly think they're full on doing it, because I think they know. I could be wrong, and I bet like even he said it's going to be a slight he didn't say comedy, but he said a slightly lighter version. But that also just might be the stage in its life too, right? It might not be the rating. It might be Matt is in a happier place now than he was in Daredevil 1, 2, and 3.
It's his Arrow season 4, but hopefully not the quality of Arrow season 4, the mindset of Arrow season 4. Let's go with that.
And just talking about this statement, I've talked about it on here before. It's not my theory, but theories that have been passed around is that you'd have like 18 episodes, 9 episodes, probably each, right? Probably 9 and 9. So what people have said is that first half takes place during the blip, and Foggy and Karen are gone. Like, they've been blipped away, and it's just Matt left, and he has to find a new law firm. He has to become a new hero. He has to almost be born again. And then that back half 9 is in current day, where they're back, and he has to adapt to having his friends back, and also adapting with his, like, these two lives clashing. And I think that could be a really nice parallel for the fans, because the fans have been waiting so long to get these characters back. It would be cool if Matt was the I guess the eyes in the perspective of the blip, right? We're going back to the blip and seeing what happened during that time, because we've seen nothing within that 5-year span yet. Like, we haven't had a project set there yet, and I think that would be really cool.
Daredevil versus Ronin within that 5-year
that'd be sick,
time period. I would love that.
That'd be sick.
Foggy and Karen specifically said to have been blipped?
No, that's just a theory.
Okay.
A film theory.
Okay, mine.
So, I missed what the quote was at the start, right? So, did they say that they're definitely not at the firm, or not in the show? What was the specific
They
quote?
have said before that they're not in the show. That's what they've said.
Okay. So theoretically, they could have just expanded with another office.
They could.
Right? They could just be busy expanding with him on other cases, and he has a new person with him to assist him.
Mm-hmm. Let me look at the exact quote, because I think they said that
straight to negative. Do you know what I mean? There is a positive side. There,
I absolutely. I am with you on that. I think the quote that I saw was that Foggy and what is it, Foggy and Nelson?
Nelson and Murdoch.
Yes,
the law firm.
That it wasn't a thing anymore. That I think is what the quote was. Let me see.
I do like your idea that maybe part of the season, or maybe even the whole season, is just taking place within that blip time period. So there's not as much MCU crossover. There's not as much interference. Most of the characters that you would see, or that you would come to expect to see from the Netflix Daredevil won't be there. But if this is successful, if they, revive the character to the way that they want to, maybe following in a season 2, we could kind of catch up with the timeline, or later on in the season even catch up, with the main timeline MCU, and kind of, carry on from that, and maybe that's where you can reintroduce, your main cast.
All right, here's the exact quote. Matt Murdock and Christian McDuffie will be working together at a new firm, Murdock and Assistants, in Daredevil Born Again, as Nelson and Murdock is done. There you go. Or that's the rumor, at least. I don't know how. I don't know how much we can trust the source. Can we get some toast? But
that's a great argument. Can you back it up with a source?
I would like to ask as well, right? And this is entirely subjective. But at which point would a Blip project become a Black Widow project? Like, how many years are you going to be waiting?
Sure. There's almost this point of like, why do it? Like, is
it's so far removed at this point. And like, I like you're right as well, as we are almost caught up with where the MCU is as well, as far as the timeline goes. I think they're in like 2025.
Yeah.
At this point, so.
Alrighty, let's move along. New Marvel trailer. You guys covered this really well, so we won't spend much time on it at all. Just a couple seconds. How are we feeling?
It looks fun, and I loved the music in the trailer. That's the big thing.
Daren?
I'm super excited. I cannot wait, honestly. So as we've discussed yesterday, and everybody has discussed, it was a director and acting choice for how her emotions were stilted. She was told through the whole movie of the original one, keep your emotions in check. They are going to get the better of you. So the whole time, her whole time on the Kree home planet, I forget what it is. Not Xander. No. Anyway, keep yourself in check, right? So, why is everybody complaining? That's what she's been told to do. That's what she's been doing. She's been fighting it. You can see the subtle movement in her face when she's talking to Fury, when she's opening up with people. And then the second she gets to the Rambos, you can see that those walls were breaking. Do you know what I mean? And she was instantly trying to connect, and she was struggling, but she was still having her training there. And it was something that was played completely with her mind. So we're going to be seeing somebody completely different, and I can't wait. She's going to be super bubbly. She's going to be annoyed as well because, she's a grizzled veteran at this point.
Yeah.
And then she's going to be teaming up with two people that their whole lives they've been waiting to be super, and they've been waiting for this chance.
Yeah.
They've been waiting for this moment, and we've been there what feels like every step of the way, right? So to see them finally get their moment, and then Carol, who's been there, she's done it all. Do you know what I mean? So she's gonna be there rolling her eyes the whole time while having fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really can't wait.
Yeah, no, I think it looks like a lot of fun. I think it tilts the line of just super fun and fresh, but also not pointless. I never feel like it. I feel like with Ant-Man, I almost feel like and even parts of Secret Invasion, there's a bit almost that feels pointless. Why are you watching it? But I think I think they almost hit the same vibe to me as like a Guardians or a I don't know what else, but like Guardians, where like Guardians has such a specific vibe, and Ragnarok is the one I was thinking of, where they have such a unique vibe and feeling to, and I think this has that. Like, it has a very almost like 2000s vibe, very fun buddy cop comedy, I guess, with these three. It's like mom, dad, and then the kid going on this giant space road trip almost, and it looks just so much fun. I feel like my opinion on it might have slightly changed after the finale tonight. Just my hype towards it, right? Because it's
maybe. I mean, I think I think it's gonna be a nice change of pace, though. It's gonna be a good cosmic adventure. I think I mentioned this yesterday. Is like, maybe we spend too much time on Earth at this point now in the MCU.
Sure.
Like, we know that there's a vast galaxy out there, and I mean, I guess we've been spoiled with the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and the way you mentioned, like, it does kind of feel like a Guardians movie, because it is this team up movie of a bunch of heroes. We're traveling through space, and then I guess in a lot of ways too, it will be an epilogue to Secret Invasion. But I'm just not really sure, again, how it fits into the overall MCU. If it doesn't fit into it massively, kind of like a Guardians, where it's off on its own, it does its own thing, where it kind of, follows on from other projects, but it doesn't specifically tie into the big overarching plot line that's going on right now, which would be that multiverse saga. If it really is kind of its own thing and is just an epilogue to Secret Invasion, is the carry on from the Ms. Marvel series, is the carry on for Photon from WandaVision, if it's just kind of like a culmination follow-on movie that then sends these characters off in different directions going forward, I'll be very happy. But also, I'm willing to be surprised if there is some sort of crazy multiversal connection going on here.
I think there might be a little bit, because like we've talked about her bangles, and if that could have a connection to Kang's and the rings. But I think besides that, I think this movie has a very tough job. I like Captain Marvel. I really do. But I know a lot of people do not. And I think this movie is going to have to sell Captain Marvel as a lead, because I do think she is one of our main leads going into Kang Dynasty. They need to pull people in to be like, okay, she can be your new Captain America, Iron Man type figure in the MCU, along with your Sam Wilson and your Doctor Strange, right? Because I think that's most likely going to be our new, like, trinity of characters. So I think it is very important to make us love her in this movie. As much as I do like her, I think she... But again, she hasn't been in much. Like, this is only her... Like, she was casted, I think I saw... Was it 8 years ago? And she's only been in, like, 3 projects, So...
Because they've kind of kept Captain Marvel as, like, this mystical figure. Like, when we saw, like, the beeper at the end of Infinity War and everything like that, we're like, okay, yeah, this is setting up this crazy, like, super powerful character that's just going to, like, be able to take on the entire might of the MCU. But now we're actually finally getting more stories and stuff with her, which is fun to see, and I'm happy that she is going to be kind of a main core Avenger going forward. At least that's what it seems like they're setting up here.
Yeah, no, Hero's Journey, like, weirdly enough, after Endgame, Rhodey was my pitch to lead the Avengers, because, like, he's like one of the originals that were left. I would totally find he felt like one of the most qualified to lead a team as well. So he was one of my pitches. Probably not anymore after tonight's episode, but
that is where you would pull the Diggle clip. That particular comment didn't age too well.
Absolutely.
See, I'm not hoping for multiverse stuff. The most I'm hoping from this movie is to give us lots of space, lots of it, different planets, lots of different alien species. Just get us out there, And to talk about Kamala's bands, I really hope that they keep that separate and its own thing. Do you mean? Because I also really want to see the other dimension as well, and I don't want them to be the same as Shang-Chi's bands and rings. And I want those. They could, like, if they're going full Galactus and we've got Celestials, there's no reason we couldn't get the McLuhans. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason. And that would be so cool. That would blow everybody's mind away, I think, myself. So I'm in that camp.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I think if it is its own story, I would just want it to air on the side of the cosmic side of the MCU rather than the big multiversal connection side of the MCU.
Million percent agree.
Alrighty, moving along. So a sequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is in the works weeks ahead of its release. Plus, we got some new details about the show. Taz, are you excited for the movie? Are you excited? It's already getting a sequel. We're learning more about the show. How are we feeling?
I'm excited. It's going to give me something else to watch on Paramount Plus. I basically use that for Halo, and that's about it. And I don't even know when that the Halo show is coming back, and I seem to be the only person that likes that. But I love TMNT. Like, I've been a massive TMNT fan for a while. I love the new animation style. Again, it's very like Spider-Verse style. I'm excited for the movie when it comes out, and it's great to see that the studio has a lot of faith in the project, that they already want to do a sequel, that they already want to do a series as well, spin-off from it. So yeah, I'm very excited, and the more TMNT, the better. Just give us a game.
Do we know what the show is about?
Great segue. Absolutely perfect. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sequel is in development. Also, a 2-season series that will serve as a bridge between the movies titled Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's apparently going to be a 2D animated project as well, which sounds very exciting. And I don't know, it just sounds like a lot of fun. Like, I really like the idea of you having the movie and then the show and then the movies again. I don't know how many How to Train Your Dragon fans are out there, but that they kind of did that where they would have like the shows would take in between the movies, and you could watch them, like the shows getting kind of ready for the movies and learning the past of all these characters in a really cool way. But no, I mean, I think that's almost like what the MCU did, but better. Like, they had these TV shows, right? But they're like, okay, you guys watch those, right? We're never acknowledging them ever. And this sounds like a nice way of being like, all right, movie's not for 4 years, but here's 2 seasons of a show to keep you occupied. And I think it's a really good way to not only grow with these actors, because these are, teenagers, grow with them, see them grow, but also grow that fan base, and I think in a very powerful way. So by the time the second one comes out, you have these fans who have been watching for 2 years that can just jump into the movie again, which I think is really, really smart.
I would 100% agree with you, as long as they keep, because I noticed that you point out the animation, right? So as long as they keep it like the same and don't Kung Fu Panda it, because I'm pretty sure it was Kung Fu Panda, like one of the shows from the movies, it was either Kung Fu Panda or Shrek or some nonsense, but it was so bad when you made the transition. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, sure.
I really hope that they keep the quality as close to the movie as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I know DreamWorks does that a lot, where they'll put out a show and it's a really good show, but like the animation is really hard to watch. They've said this is going to be a 2D show, so I like 2D. Like, it's rare to see 2D nowadays, so I'm down with it. I know they're putting a lot of work into the Sonic spinoff as well, the like Sonic show, so maybe they'll put in just as much effort into the show. We'll see. Alrighty, moving on to what I think is our last topic before we jump into our quick secret invasion talk. So I don't know if you guys saw this post today. So Mattel wants to make Barbie sequels. They have mentioned they want to make tons of Barbie sequels, while also making a cinematic universe. So I have a list of projects here that they have that are apparently are in development that they're making. I'm going to list them off here. Please forgive me. I was not prepared today whatsoever. All right, so upcoming live action movies based on Mattel toys. Uno, Barbie, Wishbone, Matchbox, Hot Wheels, Magic 8 Ball, Polly Pocket, Viewmaster, American Girl, Major Matt Mason, Masters of the Universe, Thomas the Tank Engine, and Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Are all what seems like maybe in this. I don't know if it's all these are set in the same universe or these are just all projects that we're working on, but they got a lot of work ahead. Out of those I mentioned,
can the Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie be a spiritual sequel to Real Steel?
Apparently,
I love that movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, I do too.
You know how upset I am, right? That Polly Pocket is there and Mighty Mac isn't. I had so many Mighty Macs. Oh my god, I would kill for that project to be there. Oh my gosh, that's come on, guys.
I think the Hot Wheels movie is just gonna basically be Fast and Furious.
They said it's like supposed to be like a real dark and serious like adaptation.
No, this is what's gonna happen: is they're gonna put down a Hot Wheels car and it's gonna like grow and like in Ant-Man.
If they make it serious, it's just gonna really just not do it needs to be funny. It needs to be like tongue in cheek.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? I think a Hot Wheels movie for sure. If it tries to take itself too seriously, that's gonna be so bad, I think.
I'm really excited for, weirdly enough, Uno. Like Uno's my game, man. Like Uno, I would take Uno to school and we would play it every day at lunch, and every chance we would get, we would play Uno. So I hope this is like a super sci-fi fantasy movie. Like I hope I hope it's like Yu-Gi-Oh or something where like the Uno cards give them power or something, like the power of red and the power of blue or something. Like
or an
reverse card.
Intergalactic Uno game to save the universe. That's like, I don't know, hosted by Barbie. That'd be fun. And then the loser has to, I don't know, find a different cinematic universe.
Oh gosh, I just saw the emergency awesome meme.
Yeah, I said that to you.
That is really funny.
It'd be really
slate
funny
has
if
been
it did,
revealed.
like, a gangster card counting scheme movie.
Oh
with
gosh.
Uno.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like it's another list of movies that are never gonna release, but we'll see. We'll see.
I hope. I mean, isn't the Universal MonsterVerse, isn't that dead on arrival?
I think
I think that got scrapped.
Yeah. I do want to say, right before we move on here, I'm curious to actually see how these do, because I think Barbie did so well because I think it really did tap into the meme culture of everything, right? I don't know if it wasn't for the massive Barbieheimer meme, it probably still would have done well, right? But like, it felt like it was able to dive into the like TikTok trends and the social media talk, and it feels like you almost had to go see Barbie or you're missing out type of vibe to it. So you're missing out.
I'm waiting for it to come out on HBO Max, right? It'll come out on Max.
Yeah, no, but like I'm curious of some of these movies because I think there's definitely some very like memeable movies, like freaking Uno. I feel like everyone's going to have to go see it just to see what the heck it is. You know what I mean?
It's just one big interactive card game, maybe with the audience.
I would win that. I would love that so much.
And then just everybody's just making up rules on the spot.
Yeah,
that's the best part.
Yeah.
Alrighty. As we kind of head to the end of our stream, we need to talk about Secret Invasion, the possible series finale of Secret Invasion.
love it.
Tazz, start us off, Tazz, because I feel like we all might have different opinions on this finale.
Oh boy, I was disappointed. Like, sadly, it didn't stick the landing. I didn't watch it right when it came out. I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday, when we were on the Party Nation stream. It literally came back into my mind right when the episode dropped. I looked at the runtime, just like Buddy said. He was like, if it has a 3 in front of it, I'm gonna be upset. And I saw it, and I was like, I just thought of exactly what he said, and I was like, oh, this is not enough time to wrap up this storyline. And I think the biggest issue here was that we almost had too much content for a 6-episode show.
Yeah.
But we didn't have enough content for we didn't have enough content for a 6-episode show, but it could have been condensed into a movie.
No, it would not have worked as a movie.
But like if we had extended it, it definitely would have worked better too, but then they could have just been even more time with build up and then still no payoff. Like I feel like we just kind of devolved into your standard MCU finale. And I saw actually somebody say this, and it was a really good comparison, is this finale turned into what the She-Hulk finale was making fun of. This is exactly what they were making fun of. And, you know, we talked very highly of this show when it first came out, about how it was like a down-to-earth, a very grounded spy thriller character study of Nick Fury. And then it just devolved into Super Skrull versus Super Skrull, big CGI battle in a gray CGI background with all the powers of every Avenger, and it kind of like really quickly wrapped things up too. It's like, oh yeah, Rhodey's a Skrull. We just freed Rhodey from all the Skrull captivity, and Nick Fury's going back to space for the Marvels. The end. But like, also the president is evil. And a Skrull, maybe. I don't know. I kind of tuned out at the end.
I mean, I don't even know how I fully feel, because there wasn't anything here I hated. Like, I don't think there's anything straight up bad, but I think this episode just showed that they needed more. And I think second episode, I started to see the glimmers of what we had been worried about, and by this episode it was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what we were all scared of. Like, it turned just like that into those 6-episode events, which is what it was. It was a 6-episode event, but I wanted more. You know, you get the vibe. And again, I had said episode 1 through 4, it felt like a real show. It felt like it was substance. It felt like something you could show on like HBO or something. It would fit right in. But yeah, they wrapped up everything so quickly. Like, it was just so like bizarre. Nick Fury's like, well, I'm out of here. See ya.
Like, all right, back to space. Bye.
And it felt like, I never felt like they didn't feel like he was finished. It, like, the show didn't feel done. You know what I mean?
It just kind of cut off. It's like, oh shoot, this is episode 6. This is it. Yeah. And instead of extending the episode, if this episode was an hour, I think we'd be okay with it. Or if the last 2 episodes were at least like 45, 50 minutes. But you cut out the opening credits, you cut out the, previously on Secret Invasion, and you cut out the end credits. This was like a 33-minute episode, 32-minute episode or something. Mm-hmm. And that's not enough time to wrap up such a massive storyline where you literally have 1 million Skrulls living on Earth infiltrating the world, and there's this big like world-ending plot, and it just like, I don't know how Marvel keeps like dropping the ball here with finales. Like, they start so strong, there's so much build up with this show, with WandaVision, with a lot of other projects, and there's only a couple that I feel like I've been satisfied with the finale. I think Loki, just because they were setting up for a second season instead of trying to wrap everything all up in one season. And I think the only show that really worked well as a one and done season and a one season show was Hawkeye. That felt and like Ms. the Marvel. Strongest to me.
I would say.
I still need to watch Ms. Marvel.
I know. I think outside of the cliffhanger, it's a nice little one and done.
Right, yeah. No. So, and that makes sense, is because they were setting up for a second season. So setting up for another season almost helps them.
Yeah, but go ahead.
I've been ranting too much.
I'm sorry.
Right, you guys, right? You have valid criticisms, right? And I'm not going to say you don't, right? Because I did want a bit more, but I loved what we got, right?
Good.
We got, not the greatest twist. An expected twist once that machine goes off and then Nick Fury grabs the hand, you're like, haha, hi Gaia, So
yeah.
like then you're like, okay, so then Nick Fury is going to be with the president, right? So we had some kind of like spy thrillery twist that everybody's going to get, not one that like, you know, you need to like sit and go, oh, how did that work? You know, and then they need 20 minutes to show you because half of the people, probably me included, wouldn't have got it, right? So it's everyone, it pandered to, it got everybody involved. And then at the end, right? So the start of the thing, right? I forget, it was like episode 2 or 3. He had that conversation with Rhodey, and he was like, the show told us, don't expect anybody, right? This is a self-contained thing for the most part, right? So then we still got the Marvel moment of the big fight at the end. I know everybody's like, but it kind of brings it, ties it into the whole universe. Do you know what I mean? Because that does happen. Just seeing the Hulk's right leg, that was just so crazy. I loved
the
it.
Picture of her really with the Drax arm is hilarious. Right? Just out of context.
The acting, right? And this is where me and my friend disagreed, because he said he felt it was so plain and wooden, but the acting between Gravik and Fury in that
that scene was really cool.
That was probably the best scene in the episode.
It was so good. And just I just felt when I was watching it, because I'm a rewinder, like if I'm watching something, I rewind it 5 times, right? And I just felt how many takes they might have done to do that, and it felt really good. You know what I mean? I did, when I found out about Rhodey being from Civil War, given what I said yesterday about if anything's pre-Endgame, there's a plot hole, right? I now have a counter to it now, sitting there thinking about it, right? So if Gravik, like based off the conversation, based on the conversation today, Gravik felt intense about Nick Fury, right? So he was very late trusting him, but the second those barriers came down, it was, I'm yours, I'm ready, like let's do this. Yeah, I mean, I'm following you until you fulfill your promise, right? So the millions of scrolls came after Nick Fury went away. That's when Talos got the million here. But there's nothing to say, one, that they all came in one group. And 2, that they weren't coming before, right? Because this had already been described as a safe haven since 1995 for scrolls, right? Important people being nabbed and other people were formulating plans, and Gravik being the last domino to fall, like, isn't that much of a plot hole for me. Do you know what I mean? It kind of makes sense. So him not getting a second harvest, I'm fine with. So I'm down for all of it, to be honest. And I feel like each Marvel project, while it is its own self-contained story, is a much broader story told, right? And like you said, there's trails from WandaVision and Ms. Marvel and that going into the Marvels, but there's also parts of this that are going to echo through Armor Wars, because security now is going to be taken up a whole other notch. You know, people's distrust, you know, like national or ID scanners, all sorts of things could be taking apart, plus, you know, their own story. And then it just could tie into everything else. So, you know, I'm down for all of it, to be fair. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see where you're coming from. But I do think we're almost at a point, for a lot of people at least, and I know like every person's different with it, but I do think as they can all be connected, I would like a satisfying conclusion within each other's projects, right? Like, sometimes it does just feel like, oh, come back on the next episode of the MCU, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what this felt like to me, as it was kind of just like, okay, come back for the Marvels next, and you know, this upcoming November. And it didn't, like, I just never felt like it finished the story they were telling. Like, especially when it comes to Nick Fury, like, he had such a good arc, or I guess the start of an arc where like he didn't keep his promise, right? He didn't have that moment I think he didn't have consequences, I guess, for his actions. And that's kind of what I wanted. He never had a moment with Gravik to be like, I messed up, I'm sorry. The only thing we got close to that was this episode but it was Gaia. Like I thought that was a really good scene, like between Nick, or again Gaia and Gravik. Like there's that really good scene where he's like, I it's easier to save 12 million lives than to make them change, right? Like I thought that scene was really good. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been waiting for. And then, oh nope, it was Gaia. You know what I mean?
I will counter that by saying that when they do imprint, they do take their internal stuff as well. So she could just be externalizing what's there.
I mean,
that's a good point. It's a good point.
True. I don't know. I never felt like he fully got to finish his arc. It felt like he was very rushed at the end.
Yeah, like he's been itching to get back on that spaceship since his feet touched grass. So, like the fact that he got on there as soon as he could, the second that guy was confirmed to be dead, and the fact that I feel that what Gaia said as Nick Fury is that the reason he came back was because he felt responsible, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that he let somebody else take care of it, I think, is a massive step. To be taking care of the president and and Rhodey.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It kind of just feels like he didn't, like he left worse than he started, right? I don't know. I guess I had a hard time believing that he would just leave under those circumstances in the way you know what I mean?
He did come in to prevent like a World War III. Yeah. And it didn't happen. I mean, the world's kind of messed up right now, but like it's not an imminent danger. Like people just need to people just need to accept, hey, there are Skrulls on Earth now and we just got to coexist. We got to live we both have to inhabit this planet now. And it's like we're both here. So
and to be fair, like that just quickly,
go ahead.
What he said to the president, right? Like also is off the back of the conversation he was having with Talos and exactly why he hasn't been integrating Skrulls properly for 30 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the second Nick Fury said, look, there are infiltrators, but obviously he's like, there are nice ones as well, whatever, boom. Like, oh, they're all okay to kill us. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just instantly shows that the president's a dick. Sorry.
So that's a pretty good segue there as well, because we were all kind of watching what the president would do in the show, because we knew come, I think, Captain America 4, we would be getting a new president in the form of Ross. Do we think Captain America could finish the story? Because I'm not quite sure where we finish this off. Like, the Marvels doesn't seem like it's going to dive too much in. What if Captain America was like that's the plot of that movie?
Well, it is called Brave New World, right?
Yeah, it's a whole new world.
You are blowing my mind right now. That is amazing. What better way for new Captain America to gain solidarity with everybody than uniting everybody? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And showing that you do have common ground. This would be amazing. You just written it. Good job.
I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how a show that started as very much a standalone project, it felt like, and kind of like its own thing, and it was going to be very, disconnected. It's not that big, like we were talking about earlier. It's not that big multiversal story. It's that grounded secret invasion. They're Skrulls. That's it. Nick Fury's got to take care of it. But the fact that now this will also have lasting ramifications in the MCU, into Armor Wars, possibly now into Captain America 4, obviously into the Marvels. So, I think maybe on a binge, this show will be better, but just week to week, I was not satisfied. But I would have to rewatch it on a binge to see if it would hold up better in that format.
Yeah, it's strange because I started off the show and said I would never want to do this as a binge because I feel like in theory it should have been the perfect weekly show where you should be thinking about week to week, who is a Skrull, who can we trust, what happens next, But
you could have gotten Skrull of the week.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because we as fans are too smart, but like there was never like a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't a scroll that came out where like I did not think that they were a scroll, right? The biggest was Rhodey, and we've been saying that for 2 years.
Deciphered that for years.
Yeah. So I think that might be almost one of the biggest downfalls of the show is that there isn't that mystery.
Yeah, there wasn't a big reveal that felt like, earth shattering.
I almost wish that there was more Avengers here. Like it's weird because I like it being a kind of the solo project, right? But also like I almost wish you could have maybe had a Captain Marvel or a Sam Wilson or a Spider-Man or something in here just to be like, is Captain Marvel a Skrull? Oh no, it's Sam Wilson instead. I didn't see that. Something crazy like that just to make. Yeah, I mean, sure, you're saying like almost like this like Civil War. I don't think that's what they're talking about, but almost like a Civil War type project where you. And I don't know, like I know people were pitching it. I had pitched it years ago, but I almost said like do Secret Invasion that leads into a Avengers movie. You know what I mean? So like you do the show and then it leads into an Avengers movie where you don't know who Avenger is who. You know what I mean? And maybe that would have been more satisfying for people. I don't know.
I did say that like not to speak for anybody, but 3Dubs felt kind of robbed by the Rhodey moment. And I said it's kind of funny because you had the writer of this being told not to look at the comics, but somehow still gave everybody the exact same feeling when the comics came out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good time to talk about Rhodey. I mean, from this episode, it seems like he's been taken since Civil War, which again is something we were predicting. I had said in recent weeks that I'm like, okay, maybe it's like in between Infinity War and Endgame. But he's wearing the hospital gown. He had trouble walking, so it seems like Rhodey's been gone for a bit. Which now I kind of want to go back and rewatch Endgame to see those scenes with him. See if there's any tells.
But here's the thing: I don't think there were, outside of the fact that theory was around that Rhodey was a Skrull. Like I think that it was only written into this show. Like it is a the definition of a retcon.
A retcon,
like
100%.
This was not planned until this show came out, and I think this is what shifted maybe Armor Wars from being a series to being a movie. Is that they have to almost reestablish him. Because the real Rhodey has been gone for so long at this point. And it opens up, dare I say, tons of plot holes.
Oh, no, really? I was going to say plot ideas, right?
Yeah, that's true too.
Because I was saying, one, I think it was a really intelligent time for a Skrull to take over. Because if that, one, I weren't sure.
Well, nobody saw it coming.
Right. But it looked like he was maybe his legs were kind of working. And I don't know if he had the braces on or whatnot. It didn't look like it. So if he wasn't actually paralyzed, but then feigned some kind of paralysis, maybe then being invalided is a great way to ingratiate yourself into the group by needing help. And also, if your behavior shifts, do you know what I mean? Because you're grieving the loss of an ability, do you know what I mean? So you're going to be different. So then, it's a fantastic time for camouflage. Him now coming out, I would say, before this, obviously Armor Wars. After that, I would say there wouldn't be a super lot of opportunities for him to be in stuff. So I'd say he would have been back shelved. But now that he has this trauma and the grief of what he's missed and trying to catch up and just everything, I think that just brings him right back into the forefront, refreshes him as a character.
Sure.
And just takes us on a new journey. It's really interesting.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I think Armored Wars can be really, really good if done right. I think this puts Rhodey in a very interesting spot just as a character. Like, I think him being able to grieve the loss of Tony, grieve the loss of time, which was like what's like Endgame was supposed to be, right? All these people lost time. Rhodey even more has lost like 8 years of his life, right? Like, so that could be very powerful, I think. Hero's Journey said, curious question, how do you guys feel about that we have to wait 2 to 3 years to see Rhodey? I mean, we don't know where he might show up next. It could be Armored Wars, but we could. I would not be shocked if we saw him in like a Captain America 4 or something, right? Especially if we do this whole scroll thing there.
Oh yeah, I feel like that might be the next place that he pops up.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope they do. That's such a good idea, dude. Honestly, really. Oh, that's so cool.
I also want to point out, and something that you had said, Taz, about like why it was maybe moved to a movie or showed to a movie. So it was supposed to come out much sooner as well.
Right.
Like last, it was the last big like the D23 event when they announced that Captain America 4 and Fantastic Four. We're like, where is where is Armored Wars at? Where is it canceled? No, they probably just then decided they needed to change the entire thing to make it fit this narrative.
Like, we can't make an entire series where Rhodey's a Skrull and nobody knows it, and then they reveal it later on, and it's like, wait, this show means nothing now. So they had to push it back. But I feel like we might do a little bit of cleanup before we actually get to it, so we won't have to spend so much time in that movie kind of, having him reacclimate to society, kind of catch up with what happened. Like, obviously he missed Infinity War and Endgame. He missed the blip. He missed Tony's death. He missed all the aftermath of that. He's, like you said, he's missed 8 years worth of Marvel movies. Like, he's gotta do a binge session plus the Disney Plus shows now.
He's gonna read Scott Lang's book to get all caught up.
Yeah, that's true.
When was Civil War?
I think 2016.
Yeah.
16. So.
And then there was a big time jump. Like, we're in 25, so about 9 years.
Yeah, 8-9 years, something like that.
That's a lot.
So, does he know that much time passed? Was it just like he went to sleep and it's like, oh shoot, I was asleep for 9 years?
Yeah. Does he age? Or is it like a cryo chamber?
Oh, I'd be okay. I don't know. I don't think it'd be okay, but it would be better if I fell asleep for 9 years and I didn't age, rather than be asleep for 9 years and age 9 years. That would be awful.
Stranger said, it just breaks my heart how Rhodey is going to have to come back, find his best friend dead. Yeah, I think that's going to be a big part of his arc that I'm very excited for. Holy shit, he doesn't know who Spider-Man is. That's actually a really good point.
No, well, I mean, nobody knows who he is now.
Yeah, or maybe he does. He's like the only one.
Oh, that is true. Maybe he's the only
How
one. How
funny would that be? Like, it doesn't, like the mind chamber it stops
or whatever.
It, right?
Just it's just a mental block.
Is everybody also just assuming that Rhodey is the longest napped? Do you know what I mean? There could be people in there that have been there longer.
Oh yeah, totally.
Right. Well, because Everett Ross was in there too. Like, how long was he a Skrull?
Well, I don't think it was Black Panther 2, right? I like we know it wasn't Black Panther 1 because he bled in Black Panther 1, right? He got hurt a lot. I would hate to think it's Black Panther 2, so I have to think it's more recent, but maybe not.
Well, so he asked Rhodey, was like, hey, how long have you been in here? But there was no like answer for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I don't know.
To be continued, I guess.
Who knows? Maybe the writers haven't made their mind up yet.
To wrap things up, though, do either of you guys have any burning questions you guys wanna add?
I guess. Well, Gravik, is he really dead because he's got all the infinite Super Skrull powers that?
Yeah. Okay.
If him and Gaia both have the exact same amount of power of literally every Avenger combined, why does just cosmic blasting him and leaving him with the hole in his chest, why does that kill him? Why doesn't he just regen?
Yeah. He has group powers.
So
okay. You know what? We kind of skipped over the power thing. How do we feel about the, like, I know we talked about it itself, but like diving into it a little bit, how do we feel? Did we like that scene at all? Like,
I liked the scene. Gray. I do feel that some of the powers were redundant.
I feel like he didn't even know what half of them were. Like, he had ice powers. Who had ice powers?
I think there was a frost giant in there somewhere.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't
know
if it's
like skipping around at the end of Thor 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
They nabbed him.
It just Iceman.
It felt like there was like no color here. It just looked very
gray.
It looked very gray and muted. It was really weird.
You know, it's when he was Ebony Moore. I thought I had to do that. You know, do the whole hang thing as well. That was great.
Yeah. We saw Ghost, which Ghost was technology, right?
Right, and there was also Ant-Man powers, I think, as well.
No. I'm pretty sure it was technology that was stopping her.
It was
from
Ghost.
Doing it.
I thought, wasn't that Ghost?
Ghost was messed up, and then it was the suit that was keeping her normal.
Okay.
Okay.
So the shrinking was just Ghost. I had a hard time seeing who all was on that list of names because it went.
I sat there pausing it and rewinding it.
I saw like Winter Soldier, and I was like,
"Yeah,
is it
okay."
just...
So you had
Groot, a robot arm.
You had Mantis. You had the Black Order. You had the Outriders. You had the Frost Beast. You had Captain America, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, which was really interesting because if they really couldn't synthesize the heart-shaped herb in Wakanda Forever, then they would have had a backup. So,
that's a good point.
Who else did they have?
Nick could have saved. You know what? I'm not going there. I'm not going there. That's actually a big plot hole, isn't it?
Gamora. They had the Guardians. They had the Black Order.
Yeah.
They had most of the Avengers that were there that had superpowers. You know. They don't think they had Scarlet Witch. That didn't pop up.
No, I don't know how that would have worked.
No.
I'm kind of shocked. Like Captain America would even work. Like, can you take out the like super serum?
I just think the whole idea around how this worked is very like thin. Like, how does just having their DNA give you their powers, and how is there no like weird overlap with having all of these powers at once? Like, surely that would just, I don't know, make you explode or something.
Yeah.
Like, my biggest issue is how the hell they had like 20 different DNA in one vial.
Yeah. Yeah, and how is there enough of it to make 2 fully powered Super Skrulls?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I did call them making Gaia a Super Skrull and leading her people yesterday.
Yeah, and I was also shocked they kept their power. Like, Gaia is just now she's walking around with all these powers.
And yeah, that is a thing. But I just thought of the other big weird, like, I guess, endpoint here is the fact that the whole reason Fury did not call the Avengers was like, oh, if the Avengers come in, the Skrulls can steal their powers. What happened? The Skrulls stole their powers anyway.
Well, no, I mean, that's the thing. That was another big issue. Like, the end of the last episode, like I had said, I don't want Daisy or Captain Marvel or any of these guys, because the whole point of the last episode is like, well, I have to do this on my own. We can't use powered people. It's just to bring power people in. You could have just brought in Daisy. You could have brought in Captain Marvel or Monica or Agent May.
I almost would have been more okay with it if the powers were limited. Like, say they, used up all the power. Like, if you exert enough energy, like that DNA is like useless at that point. So the fight, they kind of cancel each other out, and then maybe that's why Gravik died, is because he used up all that power. But obviously Gaia's gonna have the power infinitely.
So another thing, right? Going back to Captain Marvel, right? Is they're able to copy down to the DNA, right? So any Skrull in Gaia's proximity should also be able to copy her DNA, at least any bit they choose.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point as well. So you could just infinite Super Scroll glitch, not patched 2025.
I almost thought about it'd be really funny. Obviously, they didn't do this, but like if anyone has seen the Emperor's New Groove, there's a scene at the end of the movie where they have all the potions of different things, and they just keep drinking them, and they keep turning to different animals and stuff. It'd be really funny if they did that here. Is like Hulk powers, and then Groot powers, and I don't know.
That would be really cool. We could have one of each.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Okay. So at the end of the day, it was silly, but it kind of did also remind me of like, when you got all your Marvel toys together and you're just throwing them all at each other, and you're like, this is what would happen if I had the power of every single Marvel character combined.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I think in that regard, you have to give them credit.
No, I know this was absolutely just the definition of toys in a sandbox, right? Like you are playing with your action figures in the parking lot. Like that's what the scene was, 100%.
It was Minecraft creative mode.
Absolutely. All right, we need to get out of here, but very quickly, very, very quickly, we do have our question of the week.
What about the Midnight Circus?
We talked about it yesterday. It's fine.
You don't want to talk about it again? No Captain Cold rap?
No, we'll talk about it when we have more time because I know you have to get out of here. So last week I had asked you guys patience. Hold on. I had asked you guys who your favorite Star Wars character was, and I got a whopping 4 replies. So we're gonna go over them. Tazz said Anakin.
Who's that guy?
Said Anakin. Tazz,
Oh,
you
really?
hate Anakin, right?
Really?
He is the chosen one.
Edward Davis said Darth Maul. Absolutely amazing. Darth Maul is very cool. DC.
Buff Jar Jar. Oh my god.
DC said Boba Fett. Boba Fett is a really good one. And the Red Arrow said the Joker. Don't know what that means, but Darth Onion, do you have a favorite Star Wars character?
I mean, obviously, Obi-Wan, but then there's obviously Kit Fisto, Mace Windu. I'm loving Cal Kestis at the moment. I just would be able to narrow it down if I'm honest. Mando, obviously, and then just so many from the Old Republic. So not able to pick it down to one. Sorry.
Fair enough. Internet went down today. Didn't have enough time to make the graphic for next week's episode, but next week I will be asking you guys what's your favorite moment from the Flash season 9. I know there's a lot of negativity going around, but I'll be asking you guys favorite moment Flash season 9. Don't all say Oliver. I swear.
Can I tell you mine before? I don't know if I'm going to be here next week. It's how the hell they made creme brulee 90 times over using the Speed Force. It makes no sense.
Hold on, this is gonna be a tough question for multiple reasons.
Alrighty, you guys. Do we have any updates this week? Tazz, I know you're taking a little bit of a hiatus, isn't that right?
Yeah, content's probably going to be a little bit slow here. I did get a great Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Revisited video up, and that one actually did a lot better than I thought it would, because I guess people just love the nostalgia. But definitely have something planned for the Ratchet & Clank PC port, and then I'm still at some point going to get that Ahsoka trailer video up before the show comes out, hopefully.
Darth Bunyan, do you have any things that you want to shout out?
Not only that I too will be going on a hiatus shortly, because I'm going to be going on holiday to Spain in August.
Very nice.
Have fun.
Yeah, thank you. I can't wait. I get to see my one and only, so it's just pure heaven.
Sounds like a lot of fun. And yeah, guys, next couple weeks again, Taz is taking a little bit of a vacay, and we have a couple of very fun streams coming up that I'm very excited for. Don't want to announce them yet because I don't know if they're set in stone yet, but stay tuned. We got some fun stuff in store. Sorry for being late today, but yeah, it is what it is, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye bye.
Harvey, no.